Alright, in this video we're going to talk about the block level elements. So when it comes to HTML elements, we have two types of elements. Block level elements usually are H1 divs, and we'll see them in action in a bit. But I just wanted to show you guys how it looks like in the browser. So you would, for example, if you want to build your business in H1 tag, this is how it would appear in the browser. I highlighted this yellow box around it because this is invisible. You don't see it unless you hover over it in the browser, and we're going to learn about the Google Chrome DevTools in this video as well. Basically, block level elements span across the whole screen. And for example, if you want to put another H1 element next to it, you cannot. And the reason is it's block level. It spans across the whole screen, so you cannot have two H1 level next to each other. You can use CSS to modify the display properties, but we'll get to that later. But in the meantime, when we have block level elements, that means you cannot place anything next to them because they span across the whole screen, and the only way is modifying the display property in the CSS. So let's see it in action. Alright, let's go ahead and open the HTML block level folder. So when we open the index, we will see a UL tag with a bunch of LIs. And we also see heading tags with p paragraph, and also a div, a nav bar, section, footer, header, main, and aside. So let's see how they behave in the browser. Let me open it with live server. Okay. So as you can see that get a haircut, the list element spans across the whole screen, and then we have a UL, which is the one behind it, and also take a shower spans across the whole screen. The heading, build your business, span across the whole screen. I am a dev, navigation, section, footer. So you see that everything spans across the whole screen. And the reason is it's really crucial for you guys to know that when it comes to layouts, we have to treat elements as block level elements and also inline elements. So the way you would inspect the element is you have to use Google DevTool. So you would right click and then you press inspect. You can see that a inspect menu pops up. Yours might be different. The way you could do it is either dock it on the right side or down below, or you can put it on the left side, or you can even just take it out. And let me just zoom out a little bit. So this is the Google DevTool. And again, if you want to change your theme, the way you would do it is go here and change light theme. So yours might look light, but I kind of like the dark theme, so I'm just going to choose dark, and I'm gonna put it on the right side. So we can see that this is the HTML document that we had in our code editor. We had a header, and we also have a body, and which is all these elements. As you can see, when I press on the inspect tool, I can hover over each element and it highlights them for me. And this is when it comes to developers, we have to inspect elements like that. So when we highlight over the H1 and click on it, we see that it's being selected, and we see that it is a block level element. And the way we could see it, if we expand this menu, we see that there are some bunch of styles that is applied to this. And if we go to the computed section, we see that the box model, we'll get to the box model later, but we see that this is the width, and this is the padding, and this is the has no border, and we have a margin. When it comes to a element, any element on web browser, any HTML element have box model, and it follows box model rules. And this is how you can inspect element in Google Chrome. And again, we have to pay attention to three important things. One is this area that shows us our actual HTML document. Another one is the style area that we would use when it comes to CSS, and we can see what are the states, and if it's a hover state, we can check that as well. We can come to the computed section and check whether each property, what's the margin when it comes to a box model, and we also can inspect the elements with this tab and then hover over them. So we already know that every element have a box model, and then the width is the blue one, and the green one, when you hover over it, it's the padding, and the orange one is the margin. So everything is consists of a box model. So this is how you can hover over elements if you want to see, and you see that it's being across the whole screen. Even if I take this out and then click on inspect again, we see it takes the whole thing in the browser. You cannot put any element next to it. And this is how you could inspect elements in Google Chrome. We also have console. Console is for JavaScript. We'll get to that later. And we can also toggle device toolbar. So this is another way you can check the responsiveness of every single device, and you see everything is spanning across the whole screen. And when it comes to responsive design, we always use that tool. So again, we use this for responsive tool. We use this to inspect elements. Get yourself familiar with it. I usually put it on the right side, and this is our HTML document window. We can inspect elements here, and this is our style document. If we just see it here, if we, for example, select another element, take a shower, we have different styles that are applied to it. So you can inspect elements here. You can check the responsiveness here as well, and you can check the box modeling and the computed way of how everything is calculated here. And this is how you would use the DevTools in Google Chrome. Every browser has DevTools, but for this course we're going to use Google Chrome DevTools, except when it comes to CSS Grid, we're going to use the Firefox DevTools, and we'll get to that later, but get yourself familiar with the DevTools a little bit.